Good evening. Welcome to another edition of the 411 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. My name is Leon Jones, and tonight I'm going to discuss the terrorism of the left, and I'm going to talk about some other social issues. Now, I got a video from Instagram, and this dumb nigga, and I'm saying it right off the rip. He said he supports the migrants. But I would have to ask this dumb nigga, what would they do for you? Because he said, I know how it is to struggle. Well, how do you know how it is to struggle? See, I'm just going to say this when it comes to black people. Many of you should not get involved in politics. I have a few co-workers, too many black people, and I can understand them, the black women, because they've gotten a lot of government benefits. But black men, I don't understand why you support the Democratic Party. And I'm hearing all this that Trump is basically cutting jobs. Well, let me tell you something. When Biden was in office, one of the largest contributors to jobs were government jobs. And that's the contrast between President Trump and President Biden. Biden is for big government. One must understand that government, regardless of how the economy or the market is going, government workers always had jobs, particularly black women. And this is why a number of black women always thought that they were better than black men. They were given a lot of resources. Goldman Sachs gave them some resources. I remember in Atlanta, they were given a number of black women $800 to $1,000 in UBI. And see, when you get benefits from the government and you have an entitlement complex, that's the problem. Now, I've done a little bit of my own research, and I'm looking at who's out there doing all the fighting. Now, there are a number of black people out there, and salute to the black people that aren't getting involved with these migrants. But a big issue that I am seeing is a lot of women. And what I'm tired of is a lot of women running their mouths. And let me tell you something, you women out there, you all aren't going to do shit. I'm looking at, well, we have bounties on the ICE agents by the cartels, $10,000. First of all, I'm just going to say this, and you Republicans, you need to get on the stick with this. You need to start putting these lefties in jail. Because if the situation were reversed, you would definitely put the Republicans in jail. And if you don't believe me, look what happened January 6th. And you have a lot of the leadership, Gavin Newsom, Mayor Johnson of Chicago. And Johnson in Chicago doesn't care about black people. And this is the problem with the Democrats. See, I want you all to really look at the big picture about the Democrats right now. And see, what they are good at doing is presenting a narrative. But see, they present a narrative in front of ignorant people. Now, the Democrats really claim that they're for the people. I always hear this, healthcare. You have a number of individuals in the rural areas that are suffering. You have a number of individuals from the urban areas, but the Democrats really don't care about anybody in the rural areas because most of the rural areas are red. Now, what the Democrats don't like is we had over 2,500 counties out of 3,100 counties that were red, and they voted for Donald Trump. Now, Everybody knows what's going on. You have these activist judges, because there was an activist judge out there that recently blocked President Trump from calling the National Guard up from California into Oregon. Now, what these Democrats are going to continue to do is they're going to continue to commit violence. And what they're trying to do is intimidate the public. But I'm going to tell you, Democrats, something. The chickens are coming home to roost, and you're going to get yours. I mean, Kamala Harris has already gotten her security or her Secret Service removed. Gavin Newsom wants to be president in 2028. He's already tried to intimidate his people in California, but the Democrats have run California into the ground. And the worst thing you can do, and I'm telling a lot of people this, talk about poor. See, what the Democrats really want you to do, they want you to be employees. The Democrats don't care anything about ownership. They don't care anything about business. Now, I want to get to something about the food prices here. And this is what's not mentioned. Well, you look at the food prices, one of the reasons why they're so high is, number one, if you look at the Democrats, they really don't want choice. What they want is monopolies. And this is what nobody's really looking at. You have big grocers out there like Kroger. I know Food Line is a pretty big grocer as well. And there are other big grocers out there. And see, what the Democrats really want is for individuals to have almost no choice. And see, when you have monopolies and duopolies, what generally happens is those industries control the market. So they can raise the prices or they can lower the prices. And you have a number of individuals, number one, they're not smart buyers. And number two, they don't really understand the market. And see, the problem with a lot of Americans is this. Americans are basically customers. They don't know how to save money, particularly Black people. When we get a lot of money, we're buying bullshit with it. Cars, clothes. You ask a number of Black people about stocks. Many Black people don't have stocks. Many Black people don't even own stocks. And when it comes to ownership, Black people might have some businesses. There are not a lot of Black banks out there. There are not a lot of Black grocers out there. I'm an engineer. You have very few Black engineering firms. But if you look at what's going on out there with Antifa, they're trying to go against ICE. And what's going to happen is there may be an insurrection where the full-blown military is going to have to come in and save some of these cities. And see, what the Democrats really are doing, they're trying to bully everybody into believing what they believe in. I'm talking about the Democratic left, because if you are a Democrat and you vote against the left, your own party is going to have you for chopped liver. They hate this country, and everybody knows they hate this country. I saw a poll out, because I'm going to skip around from topic to topic. There's this poll out. Bill O'Reilly had it out, and he said, well, there are mixed opinions on how Trump is doing. Well, there was this Harvard poll out, and this is why I say don't look at polls. Well, I did some digging into the poll. and the sample was 1,506 RV. Now, what does RV stand for? And I'm not talking about recreational vehicle. Some of you dummies might think that. RV is registered voters. So the sample size was 1,506. Now, if I really wanted to dissect that whole, how many people sampled were Democrats? Because you're going to see polls thrown out there. I know in Virginia, you have two women running for governor. Winston Sears is one, and there's this communist white lady running, and she's 6 points ahead. Well, bottom line is what the Republicans need to do. They need to stay the course. They shut the government down. And they shut the government down because people like Hakeem the Dream, call him Hakeem, congressman from New York, who is the minority House leader. Well, he's talking about health care now. Okay, health care for who? So he's trying to say, well, Americans need health care when basically he wants health care for illegal immigrants. See, that's what Democrats want. And the people, again, putting the bounties on these ICE agents, they're cartels. So basically, this country, because of the Democrats, because they don't like the real rules, the real laws out there, they really want to come up with their own. And they really want to have speech, their speech. Now, this is probably why my channel hasn't grown, because I've said some things that may have been outrageous to a number of individuals. But I'm talking common sense here. See, what you want to look at a big picture, going back to the grocery stores, going back to everything that the Democrats talk about. They talk about health care. They talk about education. They talk about the market. Well, many of them don't know the market. If you think about what the Democrats talk about, NPR, public school system, jobs, they all talk about public service jobs. That's what they talk about. And again, the contrast between President Trump and President Biden is that's all Biden wanted. See, Biden was a regular politician. He believed in the government because he spent his life in the government. And that's what a lot of Democrats do. They get in government, they find no other outlet because they don't have any other skills. And a number of individuals who work for the government, and particularly there are a number of women out of work, Black women included. And when you work for the government in certain areas, you don't gain any skills. You're pushed up. Now, I'm not saying that government jobs are bad because I've worked them, but I've worked in a technical area where you still had to do work. But the problem with a number of the government employees is they just don't do work. They go to school for terrible degrees. They have a lot of debt, but they think they're educated, the most educated. And I know when you hear a number of Black women talk, they say, well, we're starting businesses. Well, what businesses are you starting? Unless you are online selling pussy, you ain't starting no businesses. You don't have the capital to start businesses. Now, I'm not saying all Black women, but there are a number of them who think that because they go to school and get an education, education happens without school as well. It's how well you can understand the world. And many of the Democrats, they live in this delusion. I mean, I'm watching a number of videos. There are Black women out here. And I've seen a number of Black women. You know, there was one with 9 kids who believes that we, as the taxpayers, should take care of her kids. Well, no, that man who you were fucking, or the men who you were fucking, should take care of their kids. Why don't you go on after the dads? And here's what I think. That term going back to deadbeat dad. Well, even if you're married, I believe this: you're a deadbeat if you're having kids that you can't pay for, whether you are a male or a female. And remember, there are only two genders. That's right, male and female. And I'm saying this because the Democrats, they want lawlessness on their side. But see, when you hear the Democrats talk, like you got Hakeem Jeffries, you notice where the Democrats always hide out? They're always hiding out on liberal television stations. The only one that has the balls enough to come on Fox News or Newsmax, then I give him a big shout out. And that's John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, the one who doesn't wear a suit. But if you think about John Fetterman, he was one of the Democrats who voted for the government not to shut down. But you got people like Hakeem Jeffries, all these niggas in there. And black people, you need to stay out of politics. Jasmine Crockett's, the Ilhan Omars, even Alexandria Ocasio Cortez. Now, I know the Democrats are trying to pop up Cortez. She's not going to make president. And see, what the Democrats are trying to do, they're trying to do their dirt by looking to obtain all these migrants to vote for them in the midterms. Now, when you have the continuing resolution, that's the CR, the continuing resolution, that's when bills are passed. Well, what the Republicans are going to have to do, and it's tough. They may be able to do it this time, because generally, when you have a sitting president, he comes in. Well, the party that is the majority tends to lose some House and Senate seats. Well, with everything going, and we need a lot of YouTubers out there, a lot of smart brothers, and shout out to Machismo TV, and shout out to Tito, Salty Balls, and shout out to my man Matt Golay. Hope he comes back up there. And shout out to little Big Nate. Hope he comes back up here. Because the bottom line is, you have a number of people up there, and shout out to Mr. O from Chicago with the info, and Minister Japp. And, Minister Japp has been putting out some very good material as well. Too many black people are talking about Diddy. Okay. I'm going to just give a little bit on Diddy right now. With everything going on with him, he gets 50 months in prison. Now, to me, I believe everything was alleged, and that was too harsh of a punishment. But now, if Diddy's already served some time in jail, that 1 year that he spent should be taken off because he's already served some time. So he shouldn't get 50 months. He's going to get something 38 months. But getting back to the Democrats, they will not stop kicking and screaming, and they're lying. And see, this is where they have some mental issues. And see, what's all fucked up about everything is you got dummies who are part of Antifa, because Antifa, and you have some other people out there that want to unmask the ICE agents. Well, you have ICE agents just going to do a regular job. They're trying to enforce the law. But you have people like Johnson, who's the mayor of Chicago, Pritzker. You have the mayor of Portland, Oregon, the governor, who's a woman. You got Governor Newsom and a number of the Democratic individuals in California. They don't want that to happen. They want the lawlessness. Why? because you have states that have all this ruckus going on. They want other states to pay for their damage. They do. Now, of course, here in Indianapolis, you've had your fair share of crime. But I want to tell you something here in Indianapolis, though. We all need to know this about Indianapolis, because I've seen some comments and I heard some individuals, well, Indianapolis is in Indiana. Of course it's in Indiana. It's a red state. Slow the phone a little bit. Slow up a little bit. Indianapolis, South Bend, and Gary, Lake County in Northwest Indiana, they're all blue. Remember that. Just because the state is red, most of your cities are blue. And Mayor Hall said, when I worked for the city of Indianapolis, he had something going on as well. And he still has something going on. I mean, you have individuals asking him to resign, and that could be over some, what I do know, sexual allegations. And do you know why? He was probably a womanizer. And I know when I worked downtown, he certainly put it out, oh, you need to take your sexual harassment, which I think sexual harassment is bullshit anyway. It is. Bottom line, when it comes to a number of women, they want everything. This is why they don't do well in relationships. Turn it to a topic now. Number of women, but undesirable women. They expect the man to go all out for them. In fact, when we deal with this term struggle love, comes from blacks. Well, here's what struggle love is. It's a one-way street. You see, a black woman doesn't want to deal with a man who basically, and if you don't believe me, I refer to Tyler Perry's Acrimony, where Taraji Henson married a black man, but his sister's got in that relationship. It all up. He was inventing a battery. She thought all the wrong about Taraji Henson until he found somebody else that believed in him. And now when he made it, now she wants a piece of him. See, the problem with the black woman is they're not supportive of their men. They don't, look, black women don't want a man asking them to do anything. They want to be the controller. And I see a lot of guys, particularly that guy down in South Carolina, who says he is supporting the migrants and any other black person. And a lot of the black men and women I see, they're old black men and women. You all gonna have to die off. We need you to die. A number of you old baby boomers, some Gen Xers, and some of the individuals who are part of the silent generation. You have done nothing for black people. You are still living back there in the 1960s where we're still marching on Sunday, where you all act like they're dogs fighting you. And see, that's that democratic mindset. They want you to be oppressed. And a lot of you black people just don't see it. They talk about racism all the time because they want you not to advance. And this is why I call a number of African Americans, they have a slave mindset, although they're not slaves. But black people spend trillions and trillions of dollars on bullshit. They can go out and buy Jordans, again, buy clothes. Black people can afford stuff. The bottom line is they just don't know how to save money. They don't understand crypto or the stock market. They don't even understand how the market works. In fact, if you look at the show on that Tyler Perry has about a company, and even the old guys, and she used to play on All My Children, play Angie on All My Children. Debbie Morgan, good actor. They get old and they're still talking like they're from the street. And the brother to brother love is going wild on that show. Now, for the most part, it was a day where black people weren't woke like that. And I'm going to tell you why they're woke like that. It comes from the women. Because, see, what it is, and nobody wants to connect these dots. You see, because feminism didn't quite work to knock down the patriarchy, well, individuals figured, well, we can utilize the trans community. We can utilize the same sex community. This is why they talk about it so much, because with same sex couples, particularly lesbian relationships, they have the highest domestic violence. I can prove it to you, give you a case. I know when I was on a panel with Little Big Nate a couple of years ago, well, you had a black woman, and this was out of Detroit. She tried to leave her black lover. Well, a black lover that she tried to leave shot her in the vagina 5 times. And she lived. But you know what? That's that Democratic mindset. The Democrats always want chaos. And when you go out dating, guys, I'm just going to say this. All this stuff that they talk about gang, you don't need a gang. You don't need any gang at all. I don't have any gang. You just need to be yourself. But if you're going to go with a woman out here, don't worry about what anybody else says. If they don't like the looks of your woman, fuck them. What you need to do is get a woman who's got substance. And if she's not in your race, so be it. The bottom line is, setting standards means, as a guy, you got to do things for yourself. You got to groom yourself. You have to have yourself together. And don't get out there as guys, because there are a couple of people here on the internet that are bragging that they got food stamps, and they're guys. And they're also bragging that when you stay in the military for 20 years and you get a pension, or work for the government, you get a pension, that's just like welfare. No, that's not welfare. Welfare is a subsidy given to individuals who aren't working. And see, that's the problem in this country. We have too many individuals who believe in the welfare dole. This is why America, when it comes to the Democrats, is never going to work. See, the Democrats really don't care about individuals having skill. And you notice they want to deal with individuals who come over here so they can put these migrants to work. Because I'm going to tell you, migrants, something. You come over here and you work for some of these Democrats, they're going to treat you like shit too. They're going to call you nigger. They're going to call you spit. Yes. Because they really don't want to give you any of their money. They want to take money from me. Democrats promote undesirableness. You look at the number of the Democratic women, you look at the men, and if you think about it, they don't understand how the real world works. They go on the media, and it's most of these women out here. And I got to go red pill again. These American women, they have this attitude that Well, men gave us all the hell, so it's our turn. Now, you've had your turn for 70 years. You go in, many of you talk about how tired you are when you go to work. But on the same token, you have an easy job, you're getting promotions. And what are you doing at work? You're not producing anything. Well, many women, when it comes to jobs, are going for nonprofits. And then you have the fake outrage. But see, going back to the grocery and even the retail. Well, let's talk about that for a moment. Groceries. Well, the reason why groceries are high is because you have a number of individuals who are going in the store stealing shit. That's why they're high. And you think about this. In California, it used to be when you went into a retailer and you stole up to $1,000 worth of goods, you can't be prosecuted. So what happens is you have a lot of loss prevention. So all the other merchandise that wasn't stolen, what happens? To make up the cost of what was stolen, I raise the cost on the other goods. And then you have individuals who are not very smart shoppers. And then they don't pay attention to the food they eat. And something else you need to understand too. The corporations run all of the grocers. And guess what? The corporations who sponsor the Democrats. You see, it used to be until Trump came in, Trump changed the Republican Party. Because it used to be the Republican Party was the party of the rich. Well, see what the Democrats really want, they want a class system. They're not telling you. They'll tell you that they care about people. That's what they're really telling you. But they don't really care about people. They care about the divide. But something that needs to happen again. All these individuals, they want to unmask the ICE agents. Well, why don't we unmask Antifa? Who are they? Who are they? And see, there was no problem with deportation when Obama was in office. But it was Biden and Harris who allowed all these immigrants to come in the first place. And you niggas out there, they put them in your area. And they did put some in good areas, but here's my solution to the immigrants. It's my solution. Instead of putting the immigrants, because it happened, Martha's Vineyard, remember the governor of Florida? What he did? He sent the immigrants up there to Martha's Vineyard. Now, who goes to Martha's Vineyard? People like Obama. Well, they had a cow. They said, no, 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 not in my backyard. Yes, 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 in your backyard. You see, that's what you have to do with the Democrats. They talk out of both sides of their mouths. Now, I'm not giving carte blanche to the Republicans either, because for the most part, the Republicans, well, in my humble opinion, are spineless. They're afraid to do something. But it's not Trump. See, what individuals don't understand about Trump, Trump is an activist president. He gets involved. Trump is not a politician. And see, the Democrats, what they hope, and they could get back in power again if they would have worked with Trump. But the Democrats, all this is about hating Trump. And there were a lot of L's. You had people like Letitia James, Fannie Willis. They were all after Trump, all these Keishas out there. But guess what? They've been hanging up big L's. And you have all these people, Ricky Smiley, D.L. Hewley, all these old niggas out here, Roland Martin. I've worked with some. And most black people don't understand the market because they don't know how to deal with money. and they're not used to owning anything. They're used to working. So when they get a lot of money, they don't know how to manage that money. You give a nigga $500 million. What is he going to do with it? Especially if he never had that amount of money. He's going to go out and buy bullshit with it. He'll go out and probably buy something that's not useful, like a whole marina of yachts. That's what niggas will do. I know Edgerrin James, who played for the Colts, I believe he did that. Why he's broke now. And then you have a number of black people who are giving their soul, particularly black women, they're giving their souls to the black church. And the black church is taking their money. And all that preacher wants is the pick of the litter. Wants the pick of the litter. He wants to see who he can tear up or bend over in the office. But he's going to tell the congregation about saving. And see, the real battle here, because you have Johnson and you individuals in Chicago, you all better start voting a hell of a lot better, because if I'm Trump right now, I'm going to tell you what I would do, and this is going to sound crazy. Stand down ICE and the National Guard. And here's what I would do. Let them kill each other. Let them kill each other. That's what I would do. You want lawlessness? Go ahead, kill each other. Because that's what he's promoting anyway. He's promoting criminality. That's what the Democrats are promoting. Now, I'm not saying all the Democrats are bad, and I'm not saying all the Republicans are good. Because, I have views, on the left and the right. Because when I say on the left, I'm a person that whoever you are is what you are. I don't have to agree with what you do. I'm about America, making money. All this hateful rhetoric, it's all about the mainstream media. And everything is by design here as well. You go on these TV shows by the mainstream media. The mainstream media can't compete. And see, it's an outlet for the left wingers like Hakeem Jeffries, who talks about the government being shut down. Well, you do have the left and the right blaming each other. But I believe that it's the Democrats. See, the Democrats can't believe they lost the election. That's their issue too. They're like kids and they have tantrums. But here's the bottom line. Democrats want to kill people that they don't agree with. Bottom line is, it's about time for some of these Democrats to go to jail and get killed in jail themselves. Take out, I'm not advocating it, but you have everybody from the top level leadership in a Democratic Party. That's what they want. They want to fight something that they have no business in. And I am happy, and I get hard on blacks. I'm proud. I'm pro-black. I'm not the pro-black, the hoteps. I'm always proud to be black. But because I'll always be black. But here's what I'm going to say. I will give a shout out to a number of black people again, just to let you know who aren't trying to get in this fight. It's the Mexicans fight. And don't let these migrants use you black people for their cause, because again, they don't care about your cause. Like I said, that video I saw with that black dude in South Carolina saying he supports migrants and it was a bus. women. Well, I looked at the comments and I didn't have to read them, but the comments let me know everything. Those Mexicans wouldn't let you near them at all. They wouldn't invite you into their house. Oh no. And you know, some of the most racist people that I've run into have been brown people, sand niggas, spics. Yes. Because they come into this country with an attitude like they are better. Many of them come in here, they go to school, they got visas. But many of them act like blacks don't exist. But it was the black people with the civil rights. See, everybody has piggybacked off of civil rights. But black people didn't understand civil rights. See, because what the Democrats really want, because you had, let's go back in a little history. Lyndon B. Johnson against Barry Goldwater. Well, you know what happened to that? I believe it was the Brown Board of Education, because Lyndon B. Johnson was a congressman when Dwight D. Eisenhower was president in the 50s. Well, it was right around 1957 where the Republicans wanted to pass the Civil Rights Act. Now, he didn't want it. And then you had Robert KKK Byrd. These are Democrats. And if you think about the Civil War, it's the Democrats fighting. The Union Jack were the Northerners, but it's the Democrats. You think about this. Even then, the Democrats wanted segregation. See, what they're doing now is they're hiding behind their compassion and this togetherness, but they're the ones that are always associating everybody by group. Listen, black and brown people, gay and trans people. They never associate people as people because the Democrats want segregation. That's the big picture. And a lot of you all don't see the big picture because you're too busy into your feelings. And see, you get individuals like the niggas, these niggas that are coming on television. I'm just going to say this. You're just a buffer for these honkies out there. That's all you are. It's a buffer. There's Caucasians out there. That's all you are. You are a buffer for these white liberals. Because these white liberals will go back in their homes and allow you to be their mouthpiece. And they're calling you stupid behind your back. But a number of you don't know, you think you're powerful because you have a voice. Just because you have an opinion, that doesn't mean a damn thing. You know, when I see a number of you all with attitudes about losing EBT, first of all, if you're able-bodied, you can work for your EBT. And then having all these kids, all you're doing when you have all these kids is you're just creating more and more of a cycle of poverty mindset. You're not teaching your kids how to get out of poverty, but that's what the Democrats want. They don't want you to get out of poverty. Now, again, it's not all the Democrats. People like Scoop Jackson, Joe Lieberman, Harold Ford Jr., Evan Bayh. I don't know Evan Bayy's, one of Evan Bayy's kin. Evan Bayh used to be the governor, and yet he got caught up in some shit in Washington. It's a blue dog Democrat. Now, the bottom line is, if you're going to run as a Democrat, you better make damn sure you're not running on a communist platform. You see, what the Democrats need to do, I'm trying to help you Democrats out right now. You need to push, you need to sit down and work with the Republicans. You don't have the power. Because the Democrats could have some good ideas. But the problem is, you got the wrong part of your party trying to run the party. That's the problem. I mean, you don't have the RFKs in your party anymore. You don't have those people. You got radicals, communists, individuals who hate this country. And you know, one of the reasons why the Democrats are pretty pissed off and they want lawlessness is because of cartels. It's a lot of money. Cartels could be funneling money. I know down in Mexico, heck, you got the president. The cartels are running Mexico. But see, the Democrats, they don't promote any love for this country. I mean, when you have Mexicans and you have Palestinians who can come over and bring their flag and burn our flag, that's a problem. It's a real problem. But you have too many individuals here in the United States that don't know what's going on. I mean, look at Charlie Kirk's murder, assassination. You know, people still don't know what's going on with that. They don't. They don't know whether it was one shooter. They don't know whether it's two. And see, did I agree with everything Charlie Kirk said? No, but he had a desire to probably run for office one day. But see, the Democrats thought that they could take out one of their own. Now, well, they thought they could take out a conservative because he was for, this is a big picture. Anybody that's for Trump, that's speaking for Trump, because they couldn't take out Trump. They failed twice. So they took out another mouthpiece for Trump. You look at what happened at a baseball game. Steve Scalise was at a baseball game. He lived. Tell about it. You look at Rand Paul. Yes, his Democrat neighbor. That's right. People aren't. I'm telling you stuff that you're never going to hear. Media didn't put this out. Rand Paul was assassinated and had his ribs broken. And he's a doctor. He's the son of Ron Paul. Ron Paul was a libertarian. Now, because you have a number of individuals, the Democrats, when you vote for them, you're voting for individuals who don't understand the market. They don't like capitalism. They'd rather give the country away free. And see, what they really want to is to control how much money you make. They want redistribution of wealth. They, in the Democratic ranks, you have your socialists, you have your Marxists. That's what you have. And see, when you have the public, and I do believe that a number of people in the American public are just stupid people because they hear what they hear on TV. Now, even if it's coming from the right, you have to do your own research. You have to get out in the real world. And what's really stopped everything and what the Democrats are trying to do, they're trying to utilize social media like Trump did. They can't do it. They can't do it. This is why they would rather, instead of competing, they would rather shut the other person down while they speak. That's how the Democrats are. They're a bunch of babies. And everything that they've done, when they look at the Republicans, oh, they're saying, well, the Republicans on the right, they're causing all the violence. The Republicans aren't causing any violence. They're at home. It's your Democrats. But see, what it is you're putting batteries in the backs of ignorant people who watch CNN, and they go and repeat it. Anybody who tells me that, well, you better keep a job because Trump is going to take your job. Trump isn't taking anybody's job. There are a lot of jobs out there, depending on where you live. The bottom line is, Trump is not for all the government jobs. He is for the private sector because the private sector makes up the market. Competition. And see, this mindset, most Americans today don't have the mindset of competition. And that's even some people on the right too. They might vote morally for the Republican, but you have a number of individuals getting welfare too who are on the right. Yes, they are. Anybody who's able-bodied and they're getting subsidies for free, because you notice, again, I'm going to say this, when they talk about health care for illegals, I don't hear Hakeem Jeffries talking about any health, and he's trying to backtrack by saying, well, we need health care. We got health care. The problem is when Obama came out with his Obamacare, a lot of premiums went up so we could subsidize people who don't have health care. That's what's not being said. I mean, I remember back in the days we had HMOs and PPOs. And then if you think about it, Obamacare was put in play with no Republican support. And see, everything that the Democrats are talking about that the Republicans are doing, they're doing it. The gerrymandering. Except right now you have Trump, and Trump is playing chess, not checkers. And see, what it is Trump is going against the establishment basically by himself. Trump has sued CBS for rhetoric. He sued ABC. And if you want to keep the market going, I believe Jerome Powell, who's the for the Federal Reserves, he gets out there, Trump will put his own people in. And then when you have these activist judges, I'm just wondering when Trump is going to be able to get his own judges in there. I mean, are all these appointees, lifetime appointees? Trump needs to get his appointees in there. I mean, you have people like Ketanji Jackson. Worthless. Now, I'm not saying diversity is bad. I'm not. But when you put somebody in a position and they're not qualified for it just to meet a quota, that's the problem. And yeah, I'm going to say this. Many of you white women, because there's a lot of the white, liberal, blue hair, pink hair, and then black women are following them as well, trying to run your mouths. You're trying to go out here, talk some shit, and you're going to get your ass beat. And you have a number of black women who are saying, well, our job is to protect black men. How are you going to protect us when you can't protect yourselves? That's because you got a battery in your back from these white feminists and you follow white feminism. What do you black women do? That's why you are that's why you're the least. I say you're the most enrolled, but you're the least educated. Because many of you think because you have a job, you're on top of the world, you're making money. People like Kendra G. But let me say this about a number of women in America. Many of you all, you're talking about masks. You all run out every day with a mask on. You got to color your hair. You got to put all this bullshit in your nose and your ears. You got to put all that makeup on. What do you look like when there's no makeup? You're getting fake breasts. You're getting lips. So bottom line, are you really real? No. But going back to the struggle love, and this is from the black community. See, struggle love is only a one-way street here. And basically dating is a one-way street. The women want to make all the demands while the guys have to accept everything that a woman is bringing. And this is struggle love here. Well, a guy has to accept that where a guy can't have his own preferences and standards. That's what struggle love is. Nobody's telling you that, but that's what it is. It's just a term used to try to shame a guy to not having standards. Where if you have a certain preference, your preference doesn't mean anything because I'm a woman and you should date me, whether I have 10 kids, no job. But the reverse isn't true. And you have a lot of women who are living in the lap of lies, not the lap of luxury. In fact, that's another thing the Democrats want too. They want everybody to be confined to cities. They don't want anybody to have cars. See, they're using this, well, we need to be more environmentally, we need to care for the environment. No, they don't want to care for the environment. They want to stop development. They don't want anybody to live outside the city. They want to be, they want the automatic cars so they can get in the cars. Particularly, they want everybody to take Uber. They want everybody to take the bus. That's what the Democrats want. They don't want any real freedom. They don't. Why? Because if you think about who your real Marxists and your communists are, they're the Democrats. And their policies are working because they get a lot of the ignorant people out here. That's why I say a lot of Americans are stupid. See, I will not, like black people, when it comes to politics, when I hear them say, well, Trump is going to cut jobs, Trump isn't cutting jobs. He's trying to bring industry here, but he's utilizing the private sector because an economy is built on the private sector, not the government. The government is not in power to bring in revenue. The government takes, and the government wastes a lot of revenue. And if you think about the government jobs that are cut, okay, all the Democrats have to do is come to the table and say, okay, I see your point. We don't want to give illegals, because they're hurting their own constituents too by giving illegals free health care, free Social Security. They're giving them the jobs. And here's another thing, black people, going back to that video that was sent to me, this nigga in there saying, I support all the migrants. Well, tell this nigga something. You support those migrants, but yet there's something that those migrants have that you don't have. Some of them might be bilingual. And when those individuals who are coming over illegally are bilingual, guess what happens to you, black man? The rules change. We're looking for somebody bilingual in certain fields. So guess what happens, brother? You don't have a job. And guess what else? You can't get welfare. So what are you going to be involved? You're going to be involved in some criminal. And a lot of you black men are not good with being a criminal. That's why I said in a video a long time ago, don't be a criminal. Please don't be a criminal. You're not good at it. That's right. A lot of bullshit that's taking place is because we have individuals out here who, number one, and again, I'm going to give a shout out to the blacks who are minding their own business. I'm not talking to you. I'm not talking to you at all. And you don't have to agree with me, but the bottom line is, where we will see eye to eye is you're not getting involved with the migrants. In fact, the ones who are working and they know that every time a migrant comes, migrants going to take their jobs. And see, yeah, migrants going to take their job. Now, when you get some of the migrants out here, because I'm hearing the Democrats saying, well, you got individuals that won't cut grass. Bullshit. And I just want to say something to the black men out there. Let me tell you what you need to do. And you want something wholesome. And if a black woman doesn't want to deal with you, she doesn't have to deal with you. Okay? Get a trade. Learn to fix something. You see, that's another thing too when the Democrats talk about education. They want public education. They don't want shop, or they don't want home economics. They don't want all that coming. They want a public education. They don't want homeschooling. Why? Because homeschooling is a threat to the Democratic Party. That's why they don't want to homeschool. Because homeschooling is a choice. And the Democrats don't want choices. They want you to be able to depend on them from cradle to grave. And what's going to happen is you're always going to be on a plantation. They don't want ownership. There's no communication. And what I mean there's no communication, when you have that democratic philosophy or that slave mindset, what I mean there's no communication, you can't negotiate without communication. You can't. And let me even go further when I talk about communication. You can't communicate the real world to a Democrat or one who supports the left-wing philosophy. You can't. Now, again, this is not about left versus right, liberal versus conservative. Because most of us, if you think about it, the ones who are pretty involved, we can disagree with each other on some fronts, but for the most part, the bottom line is many of us are in the center. We see the real world. But people like the Jasmine Crockett's, the Al Greens, the James Clyburns of South Carolina. These Democrats, what it is they're grooming the wrong young people. And see, this is another reason, the big picture, what happened to Charlie Kirk that nobody has said, or not too many people have said. You see, another base for the Democrats were the young people. So Charlie Kirk had his boots on the ground, and he got a lot of the young people to support Trump. Well, when you get a lot of young people to support Trump, and I'm going to tell you something right now, when it comes to men, you look what the Democrats have done. Spent $20 million trying to get men to vote for them. Most men, believe it or not, with all that's said and done, you have too many women they're too tolerant of stuff. Women do not need to be in power. I'm saying this. Women fuck up shit. You look at and you look at all the cities. Baltimore, Chicago, DC, Boston, all the liberals. You got women running Boston, Rochester, New York, DC. You got a woman mayor. And I believe she was part of Antifa. She may have been part. One of them pink-haired, blue-haired women, white women. And I'm just not going in on the black women. I'm going in on these liberal white women too. Because see, the black women who in their mind tell you they hate white women, it's kind of funny. Black women are taking your marching orders from those liberal white women. You are their mouthpiece, and they're sitting back laughing at you, calling you nigger. That's what the Democrats are doing. Used to be, and you have to understand too. Lyndon Baines Johnson said, every nigger's voting Democrat for the next 200 years. Because, you get some blacks that will wonder, well, how were blacks different in the past? Here's how they were different. Blacks were Republicans. And see, if you think about it, the Ku Klux Klan was actually designed to destroy the Republican Party. Because a lot of blacks had positions of power in the Republican Party. There was a convention. I don't have the year the convention was, where the Republicans were attacked by the Ku Klux Klan. So everybody thinks the Ku Klux Klan just blacks. No, they hung Jews, they hung whites. Some of the members of the Ku Klux Klan. See, something you need to know too about history. Just because you don't believe it happened, that doesn't mean that it didn't happen. And just because you may disagree with me, doesn't mean I'm wrong. It just means that you disagree with how I'm presenting it, or it doesn't confer to your belief system. But it doesn't mean I'm wrong. And you can shame me. See, anybody, like a Roland Martin, he likes to shame people. And you get all these Negroes on all these shows. Your Joy Reids, your Tiffany Crosses. They got the biggest mouths, but they're doing nothing. You Kendra G's out there. Bottom line is, black people going further and further and further down because you got niggas like this guy. And any of you black people who are supporting the brown people, and I'm repeating that, you need to get your head examined because the brown people are not going to support you. Case in point, you get Cinco de Mayo out there. See how many Mexicans want you to come to Cinco de Mayo. See how many Puerto Ricans want black people to come to the Puerto Rican parade or the Puerto Rican parties that they have in New York. See, the problem with black people is you let too many people in your circle. And what happens is when you look at culture, I'm going to say this, you got individuals that want to be a nigga but don't want to be a nigga. In other words, they take certain aspects of the culture and use it. Case in point, going back to the Olympics, they had breakdancing in the Olympics. And they were Chinamen doing breakdancing. But that's something that African Americans created back during the Crush Groove days in the 80s. So when breakdancing was popular. You have white rappers out there. Look at John B., R&B singer. I remember when he came out, he was wearing Timberlands. Had to goatee like a black man. I've seen some of these white girls out here cut their hair just like a black woman. See, you want to steal the culture, but you don't want to understand the culture. This is why I'm saying this. If I had a cookout, some of you others wouldn't be invited. Because many of you don't even understand how to cook a pot of collard greens. Going back, Kamala Harris. She told a big lie the other day. She said, you have a number of Americans that didn't want to support a black woman. Well, you're not black. Neither was Obama. Obama was white. Kamala Harris was Indian, mixed with some Irish. In fact, Kamala Harris wasn't even married to a black man. She didn't even have kids of her own. But you black women, and a number of you black men supported her. Now, I'm honest. I didn't want a woman running this country. I don't want a woman running anything. Because they don't know what the hell they're doing. Hell, they don't even know what it used to be said, we want them back in the kitchen. No, I don't believe so. Look, most of them belong on their back with their legs resting on the man's shoulder, letting him dig her out. Because that's what most of them present themselves as. That's the truth out there. And that's just not black women. That's American liberal women. All they are is a piece of ass. This is why I say, guys, you really want to eliminate the undesirables? Stop being so damn thirsty. Stop getting up there donating your money to them. That's why they think they are tens. You got undesirables out here. Now, again, you can be beautiful and still be undesirable because you got no substance. And you have a number of them who don't have substance out here. But again, when it comes to dating out here, for the most part, it's one-sided. It's always been one-sided because a lot of us Gen Xers, we weren't taught by the right people. We were taught to simp. But what do many of us want? We didn't know any better. We didn't have all the information coming up like we do now. Because had we had the information back in the 90s and even in the 80s, it would be worse for women now. Much worse. Because what it is, it's a lot of your Gen Zs and your Generation Alphas. I work with a number of them out there on construction sites. And the whites and even some of the blacks I work with. And I'm putting up with this nonsense from women. I've even seen videos where women think they can challenge men, they're getting slapped down. I saw one video the other day where a woman did something to a man knocked it out, and then all these other punk ass niggas ganged up on the man. And so you still have that out there. Still, well, you shouldn't hit a woman no matter what she did. That's the problem. That's what allows, see, women are allowed to do what they want to do because society allows it. And see, basically, because Trump was elected, they wanted somebody else who was less masculine. That's what's wrong with this country. It's too feminized. When you're putting women in all these positions, thinking that they can run some, giving them power. But I'm glad that, Pete Hegseth said, Secretary of the Defense, and to some people, he may have not been qualified to do the job. He was a captain in the National Guard, but he was also more physically fit. A lot of these generals, generally the Secretary of Defense is a general. But see, Trump didn't want to put somebody from Washington. See, that was what his first term had. But see, a lot of people don't know what's going on out there because they don't pay attention to what's going on. That's the problem. If you look at what's going on, you understand what's going on, it's much easier for you to navigate the world. Now, the world of DEI. Well, you shouldn't hire somebody to fill a quota. You should hire a person who's qualified. See, I don't want to take any job because I'm black. I want to take the job because I'm qualified, because I went to school. I did what I needed to do to obtain a certain position. And I will not dumb myself down just to get a job that is going to be on a low end for me. That's not challenging myself. See, it used to be in this country. This is what's wrong with this country now. There's a lot of jealousy taking place. And what we do, you hear the Democrats, billionaires. Now, it used to be millionaires when Bernie Sanders was talking, but he's a millionaire. Now he's talking about billionaires. Well, I'm going to tell you something. You have some lefties who are from Hollywood and some of these athletes who are lefties. But I'm going to tell you one thing about it. If I close the door behind them, do you think that they want the government taking 90% of their income? You think Stephen A. Smith would want that? Do you even think D.L. Hughley would want that? As much crap as they talk? Heck no. And something else to look at, and I don't know much about him, but I've been reading about him. He had on a dress, this bunny. I never even, his name was Bunny. I don't remember his last name. Kind of a Latino guy. Had on a dress. This wouldn't even be heard of 20 and 30 years ago. But that's really what's happening. It's got the big picture. They don't want men to be men. They want men to run around and be like little girls. The left in this country wants individuals who are pretty stupid. They want to give away the country, but yet they don't want individuals to make money. Well, somebody's got to make money to fund these government programs. Again, when I hear the Democrats putting foreign nationals in front of their country, see, if it was during wartime, that's treason. You can get shot for treason. But if you really look at a lot of the Democrats, how many of them actually served in the military? How many have done anything besides go to college and get a piece of paper that we all paid for? And the problem with the Democrats, they want to maintain their power. And I bet you they don't believe half that shit that they're saying anyway. But see, they know how to put a battery in the back of people because a lot of people are stupid and gullible. I just have to call it like it is. A lot of people are stupid and gullible. And we all know it. And if you're not careful, this country will be taken away from you. Because the way the Democrats are going, have to ask, who's really funding the Antifas? Who's funding all this other shit? USAID, that's gone. And a lot of money was going to fund programs that we don't even know about in other countries. See, that's what the Democrats do. They spend money. They spend our money. But you got a number of individuals who are stupid enough, they will go vote for them. Now, I'm not telling you to go vote Republican. But the bottom line is, you got too many leftists out here. They want to put bounties on law and order. In fact, wasn't it the Democrats who wanted to defund the police? And see, the police in Chicago can't do anything because the mayor will fire them. But then you get Johnson, I believe it was Johnson. He said the police, or you get the media, or the police have made 70 arrests. Oh. And see, Trump, his job, he's the chief executive law enforcement commander-in-chief of this country. Is his job to protect the country. I guarantee if there was a national disaster going on and Trump didn't do anything, see, the Democrats are going to use everything that Trump does. They're looking for, they're going to make up all kinds of lies because that's what they're doing. They're telling you that the economy is bad. Again, and I'm going to reiterate this again. The Democrats don't want you to have any type of choice. It's because these are individuals who have gotten themselves so comfortable in the living off of somebody else that they believe that they should control every aspect of your life. They believe that they know better than you do. These are individuals who, in their minds, have more going on than the average person. But here's what they do: they get the Antifas, they get the BLMs, they get all these individuals to do the work for them. You don't see these kind of, and what it is you get all these individuals talking stuff out here. But all they got to do is put a battery in some gullible person's back, get into their emotions, and they're going to go crazy. I've never seen so much hate. And I believe that these leftists should be charged with hate crimes. They need to sit in jail. They do. Because if it's the other way around, what's going to happen? They're going to have Trump's guys sitting in jail or kill. Everybody knows it. And I'm giving you the information from the real world. Because really, if you think about it, the big picture is they don't like Trump because right now Trump believes in masculinity. This is why they say Trump thinks he's a king. And by the way, they're supposed to have, I believe it's on the 21st of October, another No Kings protest. And you ask half the people what they're protesting for, they don't know what they're protesting for. They're getting paid to protest. These are all organized protests. George Soros. And there's a lot of old white hippie liberals too. Individuals that don't have anything going on for themselves. Yeah, you got a lot of dumb white people out here too. That's why I say when it comes to liberals, particularly black women and white women, they're both the same. They're both stupid as hell to me. They're both bottom of the barrel. You smash and dash them. That's it. They're not worth marrying. They're not worth having kids with. They're just worth being a human toilet. I'm just going to say that. It's harsh, but it's true. They got a big mouth. They think their opinion matters. Everybody's opinion doesn't matter. I know my opinion won't matter to everybody, but I'm speaking a lot of truth here because I see what's going on in the real world. And I'm just as critical of Republicans too, because let's talk about it. Is there really a such thing as the extreme right? You probably have some people, but if you look at it from the 60s now, this country's been moving further and further left. And let me prove it to you. If I go back to the 90s, the 80s, and even the 70s, these Republicans today, they would be considered leftists in the Republican Party. See, all this stuff that the media makes up, there's a right-wing conspiracy. There's no right-wing conspiracy. Everything is happening in the Democratic or the liberals' mindset because they're creating scenarios. A lot of these individuals have mental issues. A number of them are sociopaths. A number of them need to be in a crazy house. And see, this is where Reagan made his mistake. This individual's talking crazy. They need to be put in a flap jacket, hauled off, and in a mental institution. But the thing about the Democrats, you got a lot of dummies behind you. And that's the problem. The Antifas, these blue-haired feminists, they're voters. And they're voting on bullshit. A lot of them don't even know about the economy. They don't even know what they're fighting for. The No Kings protest. Trump is not a king. Can't be a king. We don't have a king. But if you think about it, the Democrats think they're kings and queens. The Gavin Newsoms. Hell, what is his name? The Tampon Tim Walz. All these guys. See, the problem is they've been in politics too long. They don't understand how the real world works, and they don't care how the real world works. And they vote to keep themselves in power so they don't have to deal with the real world. Because again, what's on the side of the Democrats, it's not about building anything. It's about taking. This is why when their jobs come up, they're about creating government jobs. Now, again, there's nothing wrong with government jobs. As long as they're jobs that are actually productive jobs. If they're jobs that are sitting back there and you have people doing a hell of a lot of nothing, that doesn't mean anything at all. And the issue that I'm always going to have with government, it's too big. You have to cut the fat. And see, that's what Americans don't want. They don't want to change their habits because they've been spoiled. Sometimes you got to change your habit and manage your life a little bit better. That's the issue. A lot of Americans don't want to change because they've had it easy. And let me tell you something. The poorest Americans here, I will tell you this, they're much richer than individuals overseas. You go in some areas in Africa, some areas in the Middle East, those third world countries, some areas in Honduras, they don't have a welfare system. I mean, it's funny. You have a number of individuals here, they're on welfare, Section 8, yet they have big screen TVs and iPhones and nice cars. And they're able-bodied. To me, that's not too shabby. But they cry when their food stamps are going away. Well, if you're a single person in this country, you should not get food stamps at all. Now, I'm not talking about the disabled and the elderly. I'm talking about able-bodied people who can get up and go to work. They don't want to go to work. They'll tell you, well, jobs don't pay a lot. Well, if you don't have any skills, you're going to have to find the lowest paying job. You shouldn't be guaranteed an income. This is what the Democrats want, though. The Democrats want chaos. They do. They want segregation. They want everything to be governed by the government. And that includes speech. That includes media. They want it their way. That's what they want. They wanted to defund the police, but now they don't want the government to come in and establish law and order because it's against their voting bloc. The people who are probably funding the drugs so they can get high. But if you think about it, it was the government, white folks who put drugs in the black communities. Black communities used to thrive. You don't hear anything about that. Even when there was redlining, even when there was segregation, blacks made money. They had to. But once they got involved on the government, handouts make you lazy. And they keep you in poverty. But that's what the Democrats want. It's a party that is made up of undesirables. It's a party that wants to rule every aspect of our lives, through the media, through your jobs, through education, through religion and government. And they're very hypocritical because what's happening now, they call the Republicans fascists and Nazis. Well, if you think about it, if the Republicans called the Democrats fascists and Nazis, which the Democrats are being fascists and Nazis, and they're communists and socialists, and some of them are coming out bold and saying, I'm a socialist. Well, we already know you are a socialist. And look at this Mondami character. He's going to win New York, and he's going to bring socialism and communism to New York. But I want to tell you, New Yorkers, something. Do not come here to Indiana. We will send you right back. You voted for that. And see, you get the government you vote for because, see, ignorance is a bliss. You got a number of individuals that will vote for handouts. I'm for America first. If you're born here, then you should get more of the rights. But you know what I don't understand? This is what's not said. Where are you legal immigrants at? You should be in this fight. And you illegals, don't call on us blacks to do a damn thing for you. It's not our job because you won't do a damn thing for us. And you know you won't. But you come crying to it because, you know, it's generally the blacks because body takes our culture. Look at people like Vanilla Ice. Look at people like Third Base. In fact, one of the members of Third Base, he had a talk show. Look at the Beastie Boys, got into rap music. Black culture. But see, blacks let everybody in. And when you let everybody in the door, they take what's yours, they walk out with it, you don't get it back. And they claim it. And the way they're claiming it is, they're signing all these people to record labels. And in the NFL and basketball. Yeah, you got a lot of blacks making money. But that guy sitting up there in an owner's booth is making a hell of a lot more money. Why you want to feel getting broken up? Yeah, you may make that money. But guess what? You're just a millionaire employee. And that's the problem with blacks. Blacks do not have an ownership mindset. And if they see another black owning something, well, they think because they're black like me, they should get a discount. That's not how it works. And then if you don't give them a discount, you're a sellout. Tired of hearing that word coon. A lot of you blacks are coons for fighting for these illegals because they're not going to do a damn thing for you. You're listening to the mainstream media, and the mainstream media is doing just what they want to do. Keeping you ignorant. That's what they're doing. And in the end, when it comes to black people, many of us we're always going to be down because of jealousy. That's the problem. That's why we say, look, when you get something, because a lot of blacks, you know, even with the statistics, 50% of blacks killing each other now. A lot of these, another thing, don't always believe the statistics. Who's doing the statistics? What you need to do is take care of yourself a little bit better. Understand how the real world works. Because no politician, Democrat or Republican, should be trying to rule your life. The bottom line is you should be more engaged in the politics. Even if you're not out there with boots on the ground, you need to look at what's going on out there and present it. Bottom line, when it comes to black people, many of us don't know about politics. And when it comes to relationships out here, men, don't let yourselves get shamed. It's gone one way too long. If woman can't keep up, don't have her in your life, but she'll destroy your life. That's in every race. When you're a westernized woman, you see a hint of feminism, you let it go. Bottom line is, hey, don't even think about going to bed with her. Don't waste your time. Got too many guys out here simping. Pussy makes you a simp. You remember, pussy is used pussy. Somebody else tagged it before you tagged it. Too many guys, that's what you think about, particularly in the black community. And in the end, that drives brothers down because you're making babies with the wrong women. And say it's not. It's also going on in Hispanic because you got a lot of poor Hispanics too. These babies. And see, when you're making babies with the wrong women, what you do, you put them all on welfare that you and me and everybody else who's working have to pay for. All those women, they're the ones voting Democrat. They're going to have more and more babies. And when you create babies from individuals who are already impoverished, that poverty is going to keep going. And you have a number of individuals who can't get away from poverty because they're not taught to get away from poverty. They're taught to be leeches. And they believe that they're entitled, that they don't have to work for their food stamps. If you're able-bodied, you should work. And that's what I'm saying about America. Stop giving hard-earned tax money to individuals who were criminals, came across here illegally. Back out and do it the right way. And shout out again to the blacks who aren't getting involved. But you blacks who are getting involved, I believe that you're not pro-black. See, I'm for black people who want to do right. The ones that don't want to do right, I'm not for you because I can't talk to you. Why? Because you can't handle what it is to have a conversation. And that's what's wrong with the Democrats. They can't handle a conversation because they want everybody to believe everything their way because most of us are traditional. That's really what it comes down to. That's why I always say the war in this country is not liberal versus conservative. It's not left versus right. It's good versus evil. Bottom line, chickens are coming home to roost. So what side are you on? Are you on the good side or are you on the evil side? The only way I can determine that is by your actions. Your actions start from getting your information from the wrong people. Because just because a person sounds friendly doesn't mean that they will be friendly. In the end, when it comes to your life, find out whether you're going to go for the good or the bad. Because in the end, truth always prevails. And that's my commentary for this edition of the 401 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. If you like what I just presented, please comment, share, and subscribe. And if you are looking for some STEM content, you check out my second channel. This is my main channel. My second channel, the QCIS channel. On that channel, I'll give you a daily dose of science, technology, engineering, and math. Now, where you can find me. One Talk Zone radio show. You can find me right here on YouTube. Find me on X, formerly Twitter. So find me on Truth Social. and Rumble, and for the QCIS channel. You can find me on YouTube, X formerly Twitter, and LinkedIn. And for you folks out there, not offending anybody, just want you to understand what's going on in the real world. Don't be jealous. We're all not going to be on the same footing. And again, don't fall into the trap. You're going to be, on one hand, you're going to talk strong, but when you're challenged, you're going to become a victim. Because in the end, for most people, they live under delusion, cognitive dissonance, and arrested development. That equals entitlement, jealousy, hedonism, selfishness, egotistics. And you have individuals who should be in the crazy house. But I'll also say this. Understand what's going on in the real world and get information. You don't have to agree with me, but I'm giving you information. Don't let yourself be scammed. Look at all kinds of sources. I will tell you, Democratic Party has a lot of envy. Women have a lot of envy. Penis envy. All these shows, they try to be men. They don't understand anything about men. Because on one hand, they want to be a man, but when the responsibilities come out, they don't want to be a man. Like Pete Egg said, the military. To have the same standards for men and women. Want to be equal, equal rights, equal less. But understand, good versus evil. On that note, jealousy is an issue too. Oversensitivity is an issue. So if it's not you, or if it is you, get yourself some help. Mental illness is an issue. Meantime, be blessed for what you have. Don't worry about what you don't have. Always know that the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. If it doesn't apply, let it fly. But if the shoe fits, wear it. If you don't like the shoe, then change it. Once again, thank you for listening to this edition for 11 Talk Zone radio show right here on YouTube. Till next time, my name is Leon Jones. You all have a wonderful and gracious evening. God bless you. I'm out.